black color weed and all of that shit. So, so that I remember once I used to score weed somewhere like in Chamarajpet or something. Oh, fuck, it was so bad, dude. Like, it was so bad. It was really bad, and I think I must have smoked some really bad shit back then.
Back then, no?
Then I found one guy over here.
But the quality that you're saying is better?
The quality is better because it's clean. Because it's clean because it's stored. It's a store, and now also next neighbors, Germany is also making it legal. So there will be this one, and then you get like over there you get like proper seeds like from companies tested and all of that. So I grow it in my garden just with water. So it's really chill, and it's almost like the good weed that we get somewhere in like Himachal or something.
But this one thing I don't tend to really grasp or understand is there was a lot of buzz going on, and in the middle of this, after all this, you see a lot of people online putting reels out about getting smashed, smoking up, this, that, everything. I'm like, how are people not getting called out for this? I mean, of course, it's not being caught with anything in hand.
Correct. Yeah.
But it's just a little too confusing. Is it because they choose to do what they want to do, or how is it?
I don't know how this works in India anymore. I really don't. This I don't know. Because I always thought if you put up stuff on Facebook about these things, you could get arrested.
Yeah.
So my knowledge there is still the same. Like, I don't know how they do it. Because recently I saw one reel where these guys had reenacted one scene from this Farzi.
Right.
Where they chuck money on the street or something, and they got arrested.
Oh, this is this guy who did that in Kiar Market flyover.
Somewhere they got arrested. So I don't know. Like, so maybe they've just gotten away from it, or I don't know. So this I have no idea. But I think people are still getting high though. Right?
Yeah,
like,
that goes without saying.
It's still there.
You definitely know from then to now, you see that the transition in terms of number of people is huge.
And also, I think, another reason why I think this drug bust started happening a lot is because, when we were getting high, I might sound like an old fart, but when we were getting high, it was only weed. Old monk and weed. That was our shit, right? And that was most of the people I knew at least. Maybe I was very low or whatever. Now everybody I know is doing cocaine. Right? Fucking everyone's doing cocaine. I was like, I thought this was only like a thing on the TV or something. And that's why I think there's a big... And then I found out that in Bangalore and Bombay have become like big hubs for cocaine. And then I guess if I know it, the cops know it, right?
Yeah.
And then therefore, they're busting people left, right and center. And that is something I still support the cops for, because I'm not even for alcohol. So therefore, I'm definitely not for cocaine as well.
But this is not new in Bangalore in terms of the hard drugs, psychedelic drugs, because I remember I met someone...
Psychedelic drugs is different. That's again a very small clan of people who actually do psychedelics. Because psychedelics, what it does to you is very different than what cocaine does to you.
I mean, sorry,
right?
My language of these is...
I'll tell you, I'll explain this to you. Because psychedelics is like your weed, or let's say even if you take LSD or something, it is something that breaks pattern. It doesn't get you addicted to it. It doesn't have addictive patterns. I've written a paper about this as well. It doesn't have addictive patterns. But cocaine is like alcohol 10 times or 100 times. So you can get hooked. It's expensive. Therefore, and it's illegal. Therefore, it has a lot of money involved.
Right.
Therefore, it has a lot of mafia involved. Therefore, it has a lot of shady people involved. Therefore, it'll have a lot of crimes involved in it. Therefore, it becomes a bigger problem. Weed, even when some guy used to grow it somewhere in Ramnagar, somewhere, he'll fucking pull it out and bring it and give it to us. That's all. There was no this whole...
This entire nexus
This nexus was not there, yeah. So, but I think that is why they're going hard on this whole drug culture because majority of the people who do drugs will not do psychedelics because they will be very confronted with it. Cocaine will keep you going. He'll keep going, right? Full night will go.
No, what I want to ask was about cocaine, or rather speak of it, is that it's not new in Bangalore, because I remember speaking to someone in Goa just a couple of weeks ago when I was there. They said they used to frequent to Bangalore back in the 80s, apparently because Bangalore was more open.
Correct.
And very few people were in the city, and I mean, it was a very open environment.
There's your answer. Very few people. Right? Therefore, very few people. It could also be very few high society people. Right? So, therefore, that time, the cops probably didn't have too much of a problem with it because it stayed there. Now, everyone can make money. Right? So, maybe for people who come from high society, they've come from culture where they've been a little more open and they know maybe how to keep it together, even though this. But now, suddenly, when you open it out to this whole ocean of people who are just who till they were staying at a parent's house, they didn't smoke a cigarette. Okay. Suddenly they come outside and start doing cocaine. Their whole life will fall apart. And I guess that's a big chunk that they have to worry. And then when it's high society and when it's small society people, it'll stay within that network, and then it doesn't become a full-blown nexus requirement. Now, I was so surprised that somebody told me that almost everybody that goes out on Indanagar, almost everybody that goes out on clubbing days, invariably, somewhere along the way, have landed up at a cocaine party, right? And that itself is something for me was very surprising to see, because I was in entertainment, I was doing gigs, I was doing parties, I was doing clubs. If anybody had to come across cocaine, I should have come across cocaine in between.
And now you're hearing about this.
Yeah, and then I think only much late, I think 2016, when I was almost heading to India, I met one guy who was into it, and then he brought it home, and then there was a small, like this one. But I've heard so much from my friends as well, like some prominent names as well, who got caught because they were just at it like every Friday. Even then, when we would do drugs, like, okay, let's try cocaine. Okay, let's go to Goa. Or let's do it once and just chuma thodi vitla.
Yeah.
Right. But then it's become a scene like how we used to catch up for barbecue. People are catching up for cocaine parties. then that is a problem.
What's the dressing name? Pablo is called.
Pablo. So that is a problem. That is a problem which I think our police will come hard on, because first they don't understand it, right? Second is they know that it's not right, it's not good, right? So then they don't know how to deal with it. So the reaction to that, of course, I'm not saying how the reaction is right. Of course, there are better ways to do it. But considering how dynamic and big and complex this country is, you can't come up with one approach to things. It has to be different
ways of looking
at it. So, but I think it's unfortunate that because of that, the people who do weed have come under the fire. And this is always the case, right? Not only now, even from 1985, when America did this whole war on drugs, they made this list of drugs, and they put off weed in it, and they put off psychedelics in it. So then it's these two completely different kinds of people, and these guys take the fire for it. Because have you ever heard of a guy who gets high and gets into a fight? No. But you'll hear of many people getting drunk or doing cocaine and getting into fights or getting...
Shit, I forgot what I was going to tell you. So this was... what I want to tell you about is this particular documentary on Netflix called How to Change Your Mind.
Correct.
And how drugs were found, some by accident, and how there was consumption, and post the consumption, because some people were going a little nomad and stuff, the US government stopped... these people from consuming these drugs, and that's when they banned these drugs, like a lot of them. So I'm guessing now they're making these studies where they help people in medicine, like patients who are in their deathbed in the last few days and stuff, like say psilocybin. I think that's mushrooms.
Correct. Yeah.
So what do you have to say, because you are in that
definitely
field
I've
of
seen
study?
it. See, in the Netherlands, I've seen it do wonders.
So what do you think of these psychedelics? Like, since you're in the psychology field, does it come in to help or in aid?
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons I moved to the Netherlands as well, because there's already a lot of research going on how it helps with mental health. They've done several studies. I myself have, off the record, do sessions for people using psychedelics, where we do a trip and we go through. And I've seen people's life change overnight. Of course, they have to do the work to sustain that change. But yes, it can do wonders. There's plenty of scientific research to prove that psilocybin, LSD, or certain other psychedelics can actually help people with issues. And at large, I think what it does, it breaks patterns. It breaks addiction patterns. So, like, it's the only thing that is in of all the smoking interventions, it's the one that has got the most results. I myself have done sessions for close to 80 people in the last 5 years, and ranging from depression to trauma to past to heroin addiction, all of them have just switched out of it and kind of been gone on their way. So I think it's got immense potential. Like, they've not even scratched the surface of what it can do. Having said that, it is still a very powerful substance. It's a very powerful substance, and it should be taken responsibly. very responsibly. I don't recommend people just taking psychedelics and just going to a festival or just
Just tripping.
tripping for the fuck of it. I think it can be very useful if you could sit down in a room safe with people that you can be safe with, and just sit down and just breathe through what's going to happen. And I think if you can do that, you'll be fine. It really does wonders. for a lot of
And they
people.
are life altering to most times, I think, because I remember one of my friend, he did mushrooms somewhere outside of India, and he said he wished he could recorded whatever he visualized,
Correct.
because he said this is like lessons, and post that he just became something else.
Absolutely. I think for sure, man. I think for me also, I think that's also one big thing that changed my life as well, in a way, where I did psychedelics back in 2012, 13 and stuff. It was always something that just switched on, and there was this perspective that you get, which is a very logical perspective, which is basically like all these things that we were talking about. It just said, oh, okay, wait, there's more to life than what you know.
Or
That's what
it's
pretty
more like
much it-
answers that you don't get in reality.
answers and all it doesn't get. The answer is you. That's
Yeah.
the only answer, right?
Like
And-
there are certain things you don't want to believe when you're
Correct.
on news.
Exactly. So that it just helps you break down those. See, me, you, whatever, we've grown up a certain way. We had a household, we went to school. And so everything in our mind or everything that we believe is this or that is basically borrowed information, right? So the content of our consciousness itself is like these words that have been given to us by somebody else. Our mom told us this, somebody else told us that and stuff. Psychedelics helps you in looking at outside of it, looking at things just from another perspective, saying, okay, if I didn't know all of this, then what am I seeing? It helps you to get to that point. And that's the thing. And that is a point where psychedelics maybe shows you that maybe you've been so blind that it just helps you just see the perspective. But you can be on that perspective without even being on psychedelics. And I was telling this to a friend as well, saying the drug will wear off, but the trip doesn't have to end.
Yes, that's trippy as.
Exactly, right? The trip doesn't have to end, and that's the trip. The trip is basically, no matter how many perspective you have, there'll always be one more. How many? It's like, so in mathematical equations, it's n plus one. No matter whatever you gather, there'll always be one more.
One more.
Or something more. And therefore, to let go of not trying to capture, just therefore letting go, saying, okay, the more I try to capture, the more there's unknown. Like, there's a very nice reel by Irfan Khan. He says human beings are very gullible and very audacious to think that we can attain the truth or we can know things. But the more we know, the more we don't know.
That's quite psychic.
Yeah, it is, but that's what it is, right? And that's the trip. That's literally what the perspective is, and therefore you become humble. Therefore you become more grounded. Therefore you become minimalistic in your desires and stuff. And then you will become a better person automatically, because you know that the more you try to chase, the more you're losing. So therefore you just let it go, and then you just take what comes, and it'll keep.
And the chase is only a stress.
Chase is too much stress, and it's all round. No? At the end of it, you're not running anywhere. There's a very nice line from the song by Tool called "Invincible." He says, "We're going around with 1 foot nailed down." So that's just walking.
It's just like a cycle.
The cycle. So you got to remove that nail off sometimes and just see where you can go, and that's what for some people psychedelic shows. When they've been like this for a long time, because of whatever, it just opens it out a little more, saying, "Oh wait, there's more." That's it. So this is what happens with psychedelics. With cocaine, what happens? This happens. It becomes even more like this. And
It's
what
like
it
the
does,
horse with the blind just keep running over.
it goes even more. Because what it does physiologically in your brain also is very simple. When you do cocaine or when you do alcohol, when you do cigarettes, it gives you dopamine hits, which is your frontal lobe, which is responsible for your emotions and your character and all of that stuff. Psychedelics gives you a serotonin uptake, which is basically washes your entire fucking brain all the way from the back. Which means all the neurons are suddenly saying hello to each other. So it's beyond this frontal lobe of identity. and more. You're like, oh fuck, there's a lot more. For example, even in terms of percentages, I think normally you're operating at around 7 or 8% neurons per minute or second or something. On psychedelics, you'll go up to 14, which means suddenly there are new perspectives that are coming into your space. You're like, oh fuck, oh wait, this can also be like this. We don't have to think only in one direction.
Only horizontally, only
Horizontally,
vertically.
exactly. So it can be, everything is in it, and that allows certain people to just pick their intention and go towards it. That's pretty much it. When people say psychedelics changed my life, that's what happens. It just gives them the little bit of that push to own their shit. And
But from there to something else quite psych, which I think a lot of people would say, Machan, what a psych bugger I is. And this is about you getting into a throuple relationship.
yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people must have asked you. But for people who have not come across it, the dynamics itself is way different for us to even understand. How did it start itself for you? Was it because you were always poly, or was it something that you discovered once?
So I think after I got divorced and stuff, I realized the regular relationship was not going to work for me, and I was okay with being single for the rest of my life. And I was like, I like my life single. I like the freedom I have. I generally am somebody who's, you know me, I'm very open when I meet people. If it's a guy, girl, doesn't matter. I connect if there's a connection, and then I just go with it. So therefore, and that also would always create friction in my relationships in the past, because I was very open to people. Because for me, if nobody is doing anything harmful to me, I have no reason not to love you. That's kind of where I kind of come from always. So when I met my first partner, when I met her there in the Netherlands, and we just met and we started hooking up and stuff. And I told her, I was like, see, this is what it is. And she also was in the same space. She's like, yeah, do your thing, I do my thing.
So it was open.
It was open to start with, because she's like, even I like to be like, but and with her it was always so easy, because we could just be ourselves, like how I would be with the guys, or it was like that, right? We could say whatever I want.
No qualms at all.
No qualms, whatever. We just simply set each other free. And then she went to Africa for a few months, and I was in the Netherlands. And we dated other people, and we dated some really interesting people and really amazing people and stuff. But it was always after some time, it was just like, okay, we still can't be completely ourselves. We're unapologetically ourselves, because for both of us, it was the same thing. Dude, if there is no harm, we don't see why we should not be a certain way. So then when she came back, we started living together, and that's how it kind of started. We were always open to people meeting us and all of that. And then we met our second partner, Martha. And so with her, she used to come to our house all the time. Like, she used to come and hang out just generally. It was just... and at one point, we realized, okay, wait, listen, you're coming here often. We sat down, we spoke about it. Like, we're coming here often, we like each other, right? And there is attraction here as well to each other, because they were also bisexual. So we were like, okay, what do we do? There is no frame of reference. There are no movies. There is no music. There is no poetry. There is nothing for three people who like each other or whatever. So we said, let's start it off as an experiment itself. We'll see how far this can go. One rule, we were like, if it gets difficult, we will say goodbye. Everybody is free to get out anytime they want. And we will try to have as much fun as we can on the process. And but promise to not make it ugly. If it doesn't work out, shake hands, say goodnight. This is the principle at which we started, right? And which is basically, which meant we had to be healthy. Which meant there was no room for toxicity. As soon as there was, we would put it on the table and knock it down, right? And that's the thing about having three people.
Yeah.
Because when you and me are fighting, you or me, then he can come and say who's wrong and who's right, and neutralize the
And also sometimes when you are talking to each other, you tend to say, oh, you know what, just bitch about the other person, then things can get ugly.
Exactly. So that's how it started. And now what? The three of us have been together for the last 4.5 years.
Fuck my
It's
love.
the longest relationship that I have been in. And it's the most healthiest and stable relationship I've been in. To a point where last year we had another partner join us. Now we're actually 4 of us. We've not launched it on...
You know how many people are going to be fucking pissing off?
Last year we've not put it up on Instagram, because we actually haven't had the time to put it up on Instagram and stuff. So we met another person, like Lena, and Inga met her somewhere. And initially we would just hang out like this. We have a lot of connections. Like we also date separately sometimes because we have a life together and we also date separately. So that time we used to meet her once in a while, and based on our individual choices, whatever the consequences of that choices are, we know if it's closer or not. Like for example, she used to live on an island before, so we would like once in a year catch up. Or then her life choices brought her closer. So now she's even closer. So it's very dynamic and open. We have a life together where we're like, okay, this is the life we want to live, which is be free, have fun, travel, same things, regular things, things. And we just saw it's easier to attain these goals when you are with people, like when you have multiple minds together working together. So it's just easier for you to get to those places together than by yourself.
So now it's you, Inga, and Martha who stay together.
We live together, and Lena lives with us on the weekends.
Okay.
And I think eventually she will also move in with us. We bought a house together. The three of us just recently bought a house together as well. So that's the thing. So people ask, committed and stuff. I was like, fucking 30-year mortgage we have. What else you want for commitment then?
Oh, I mean, this just blows my mind. So you said throuple.
Yeah.
Now
it's a polycule. We just want polycule. When we want to change it on Instagram, we'll do it.
So what is the definition of polycule? Is because of multiple partners?
Just multiple partners, and it's just open. Again, these are all definitions that we have to give it. The way I look at it is that we're a bunch of friends who hang out, who live together. We have similar, like how people have roommates, right? Like that. But we're also in love. That's the only difference. And if you remove sex out of the equation, having or not having, if you remove it out of the equation, there is no difference at the end of it, right? And that's the load we removed. We're like, sex is just a thing that we do when we want to do, when it comes naturally. There is no need for it. There is no, I'm not defining my relationship with you based on 10 minutes of having sex with you, right? And that's what I think. Last year I had an interview with Prithvi as well, and I said the same thing. I was like, when you're in a regular relationship, you notice this, that let's say you and me are dating, and then you go out drinking with your friends, I'm okay. You tell your best friend more than you tell me, I'm okay. You go traveling with someone, I'm okay. But suddenly you have sex with 10 minutes for someone, I'm not okay. Right? And that's the problem. The whole load is on sex. We've just removed that load. Once you remove that load, there's no reason for us to be two, or there's no reason.
So when you say remove that load, what is it like?
It means that we have sex as a form of expression, not as a form of validation.
But that is only tied to the three of you? Or you're open to go out?
To have sex with other people as well. We just let it happen when it happens. So that's the thing. It's not about seeking it. Like for example, last 2 weeks I've been in India, right? So there have been moments where I could have or had sex with someone or connect with someone. But if it doesn't naturally come, I won't go for it. Right? And that's the point. And but sometimes it could. So it's basically just to allow the chances of it to happen when it happens.
When it happens. You don't force it.
To have the freedom. Let's say Inga or Martha go somewhere, they meet a guy and it's really nice, and it's just about they meet there and they have a great connection. For them to just have the freedom to say, hey, I'm going to explore this the way it comes without having to worry about...
Without worrying about the baggage you carry.
The baggage that you carry. Saying, whatever happens, don't worry, we're here. Do your thing. Let's see where it takes you. And even if it comes to a point where you want to build another life, then go. I don't know if you've seen this. Parthiban has this video on some talk show. He said, "Enakku kaadal is very different." He's like, "Nee innorthana kaadalikrana, na unukku solla avanu po. Avanukku naane love letter eludhi kuduthruven." That is love. So that's the perspective we kind of live off. Saying, if you are actually going to be happier somewhere, go for it. Don't worry, just go for it. And that's the point.
In terms of this dynamics, how does the future, like in terms of family, do you all have plans?
Fortunately, none of us want to have kids.
Okay.
That is one thing. But maybe we might adopt someday. But as of now, we don't have kids. Because we have other plans together. Like for example, we just got a house. We want to establish a base in Portugal at some point. So those kind of things. So I just want to travel, do a little. And I realized it's easier when, right now, we're like a 4-income household with no kids. So we also have a lot of money.
I wouldn't say burn, but money to...
Not to burn, but use it the way we want to. And just have the freedom to... And that gives us the responsibility as well. Saying, oh, wait, we have other people's money also in this kitty. So let's do something that's little actually larger than life and support each other. Than just drink on the weekend, and that's the thing. None of us drink. All four of us don't drink. All four of us don't smoke. All four of us don't go like spend on spendthrifts. So it's just we're kind of fusing into this one stable. Being.
Not many would come to terms of understanding how mature this is.
Of course.
Right?
Of
Because
course.
when you say that, you cut out most of the factors that will, drive those forces into being physical with each other, right?
Yeah.
So when you cut that off, and then again you come back and say, it's I wouldn't say mind-boggling, but it's another level of respect how you get this to happen.
Absolutely. Like, for example, if I met someone, okay, and that's the thing, because I'm so open, I will only connect with you if there is actually this mutual respect and love with another person. Not into, I'm also 35, you're not into one night stands, or you're just not going out to just get laid. This thing is gone, right? And then when that's gone, it's about expression. It's like, for me, sex is like music almost. Like, I hear a tune, and if you hear a tune in the room, then we jam. If not, nee veetu po, na veetu po.
Then hand jam.
Hand jam.
Man, this is, I came to think of asking you something related to throuple, but then you're like, polycule, is that how you say it?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. I don't know, these names, somebody keeps coming up with these names.
No, forget about those terms, macha. They're all over the place today.
Yeah, so terms I don't follow, but yeah.
But you should be getting asked these questions by a lot of your friends. Macha, give me someone, or like, introduce me to someone. Or it could also be relatives like, what the fuck is he doing types.
Correct. Like, but because they don't know what it is, they don't know what to say. So I'm like, yeah, this is what it is, what to do now. Like yesterday, my Dodama, she was like, my Perima, she was like, how are your wives? Right? Because she's like, no, for you, not wife. No, you have to say wives. I was like, yeah, they're nice. That's all. I answer the question, right? And like, they're fine. And then that's it. The conversation gets over because they don't know
what else to ask.
What else will they ask?
And if they get into too much of intricacies, like details of it, they will feel
they will get more embarrassed than I will. So they'll be like, what do you want to know? Like, some friends are like, do you guys sleep together? I was like, yeah, we have a fucking 7-foot bed. So we sleep together, but we also have our own rooms. So when we have time, we sleep together. When we have to, sometimes somebody has to wake up early or some. And that's the reason why we also got a house together. When we got a bigger house together. Because the idea is to have individual spaces and individual freedom. And then when we have time from that, we spend time with each other. And yeah.
Have people come, I know some people must be thinking, these people must be fucking like rabbits all the time.
No, macha, it takes a lot of effort to I put this in my comedy set also. Like, when people ask, oh, you guys having orgies all the time? Like, no, man, maybe once in a while and all. Like, fucking, you know how much effort it takes to have sex more than one person at the same time.
Don't know that. But this, like you said, it takes a lot of the comedy side of it as well. That is also flourishing for you. We see a lot of videos of you online. How did this happen? Was it something like, wait, I think I can pull off a stand-up
No,
act?
actually, it was Martha.
Okay.
Because in our house, actually, if somebody comes home, they'll think we are mad. Because it's one laughter riot, always. Always.
But isn't that the case with you most of the time?
Correct. So, but all of us are like, always, we're cutting. It's like some things like we'll be saying at home, like if like somebody hears this, though, they'll like put case on us. Like we'll be saying the most absurd things sometimes and we'll be laughing. And it's always this laughter riot at home, okay? And because 3 of us are, so out of the 4 of us, 3 of us are psychologists. One of us is a physiotherapist. So we're like a default wellness center, okay? So...
I like how the stand-up is happening here also, the puns and stuff.
Exactly. So that's the thing. So because for me, stand-up, my life, my work, there's no difference. It's all the same for me. So therefore, so as I told somebody, I was like, I'm not a comedian. I find life funny. So I'm trying to share that on stage. So 90% of the things that I say on stage are legit.
It's all experiences.
It's all experience, and I'm saying truth as it is. Because what I'm trying to do with the audience is what I'm trying to do with my therapy as well, which is kind of like push that line and see if I can bring them back and make them think. I'm not there to just make them laugh. I don't want to be a joker. I want to make them think. I want to make them feel a little more than what they've come for. Sometimes I get gasps because I kind of push too far, right? And that's my comedy. I find existence funny. Even the pain, I find it funny because it's one man's fun is another man's hell always, right? And the ignorance of that is what I find funny. So, and that's what my comedy is about mostly, because I'm like just like talking about the human existence in it's all its glory with all the bullshit in it. So I find everything funny, and that's why I try to see how much I can bring on relatable content. Like last year when I had my health scare, I had a heart attack last year, right? And I found so many moments that day was hilarious. It was super hilarious. Like for example,
I
when
think
I
I
went
saw one of the videos.
yeah, that when he said Rafael was like he shaved my fucking chest. And I'm like, it was so funny because he was trying to put this ECG monitor, and because I'm a little hairy, it was not staying. So he had to shave me. And I'm like, fucking, I'm having a heart attack, and this fellow is sitting and shaving me, and that fellow is getting trim off from somewhere. Full chaos is going on. Okay, sirikrta, alurda, terla, and kuda. And while I am the one who's losing time. So,
It's this is how, the way you say it.
Yeah.
The way I think that's what is getting a great amount of audience and the applause as well for you back there. And online too.
I think I still haven't broken into the scene as much. It's getting there slowly. I just started like last year, and over there also, if you think people are sensitive here, people are sensitive there.
Yeah.
They're very sensitive. So when you talk about, a lot of times they like comics which come and just do like absurdism and I'm so stupid. That kind of comedy they really like. This dry and stuff. They really like that. With realism, they struggle. They struggle a little with realism, and therefore even it took me a while to figure out how to kind of still make it more relatable for them to laugh. Like I remember one of my first jokes was about suicide, like long back, and the whole crowd was just like, what the fuck is he saying? Because I compared, so in the Netherlands, we have a problem with people who want to kill themselves. They jump in front of trains.
Fuck.
Exactly. Right. So, and I made a joke about how I don't see a difference between them and a suicide bomber. Okay, but then I was like, but the difference is the suicide bomber, at least in his mind, thinks he's doing it for a good cause. This fellow's actually being an asshole by stopping a whole train and all the people in it for him to just end his misery. So this was the joke I made, and people did not like that joke at all. But I tried. That's the thing. For me, also, I'm not trying to do comedy to become a comedian or to as a career.
It's also sometimes a letting out of whatever creativity that you have.
For me, I think the most inhibited I am is actually on stage. So that's what I'm trying to break. So my eventual dream, so to say, is to become as comfortable as I am here on stage, and then just say whatever the fuck I want.
Go berserk at times.
Go berserk at times. So that's taking some time to get there. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough, especially in the Netherlands. People don't. Sometimes they don't laugh also. They're emotionless there. Okay, they'll be sitting quietly, and you'll keep wondering, okay, maybe it's not working. But after the show, they'll come and tell you a very nice set. Why didn't you laugh then? No, fuck, laugh. So it's a very tough crowd. So it helps me make the art. Like, of course, I have these things that I want to say, but it helps me build the artistry around it so that I can deliver it the way it can laugh and still consume. So that is still I've made very little growth in that front, and I'm also lazy much. I'll write my set one day before and all. I'll keep thinking of all these ideas, and then I won't write it down. It's hardly last minute to write something. Like same engineering student.
But that's how most of the best creativity comes anyway.
Yeah, but the performance won't come. No, that's the thing. You have to like little bit. This one, like I had so many ideas I wanted to do at Sylvester's show also. Half of them I forgot. And then the rest of it I came up with them on stage. So that was nice.
But when it comes down to, I mean, like Martha's of course helped you to start this up, but does she also give you cues and tips as well? Or I mean, as
absolutely.
well?
We give each. So Martha's a musician, right? So I give her, because I've been in the business for so long. So I give her like, hey, this could work like this.
You can give me Martha's music also to play.
Yeah, for sure. She's just making stuff up right now. So, oh fuck. Yeah. So she's just making up stuff now. So she will get that. She might be singing. I can't tell who now, but she might be doing backups for a very big band in Bangalore soon. So they're still working on it. So she might be doing some backing vocals on their new album.
What, Macha? You went to Netherlands. You're connecting people in Bangalore to international crowd. What else you want?
But that's what I do. I'm always this.
The connection's not ending.
I just always keep connecting people. This is my thing.
You're like that spider who's just throwing his web across everyone. Like, fuck, you're connect.
That's it. That's what I do. I just like If I see, like even when I used to see musicians or artists as well, I'm always thinking of, hey, if you put this and this together, something can happen. Like I always now, and that's what I keep wondering. Like maybe I should have gone into films and become a film director or something, because I really put far away concepts together in a way and see how they can work. Like I was telling Sylvester as well. I said Sylvester, with the way he sings and with the way Martha sings, and I met another flutist. And for me, in my head already, I think of, okay, in Europe, there's a real need for contemporary music, which comes outside of Europe, which can still blend in. So my idea was like, okay, we have a flutist who's really good at Indian classical. Then we have Sylvester, who's a brilliant blues singer, and then we have Martha, who's this. She's a jazz singer, but she's white, she's beautiful, so she's relatable, and then putting them together, I think would, in my head, like this is how I'm always thinking. I'm always trying to put
like you're programming
together.
your own thoughts in.
Right, exactly. I'm trying to see, wait, it could work, and then I'll try telling someone this idea. And in fact, Parvaz, I also sent this to Khalid once. When I first saw Parvaz, this was in RV College 2010. They were performing as a competition. I put up a status on Facebook that day saying Parvaz will be the next big band in India. And that status is still there. And I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to him when he was on Rolling Stones.
Ah.
I said, remember this? He's like, yeah. He's the first fucker who saw this happen. That's the thing. So I always see potential. I'm really good at seeing potential and of things happening and where it can go. And I try to see.
Like how you first noticed Parvaz? You're my first guest on the station as well.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for having me over. Nice.
Thank you for coming, and thank you for coming all the way from Netherlands for this interview.
Thank you so much.
And I must say, Macha, psyched, and really, really lovely just listening to whatever you had to bring. And to see a Karan couple of years ago, to see a Karan now, same guy, same energy. I would say philosophies have changed, and for the better, and only spreading that across to a lot more people. And I'm only going to wish you all the best for everything that you do.
Thanks for having me.
More, I don't know if I can say, hope you get more partners.
We'll see if they have income.
But I'll definitely say, hope you hit a lot more bigger stages with comedy, and keep inspiring, Macha. Keep inspiring.
Man. Thank you so much.
And one day, I know you're leaving tonight, but someday that biryani that you cook really well.
We'll do a biryani party also, for sure.
Thank you so much.
Cool, man. Take care. See ya.
Loves Radio.